Hi guys, this is our answer video for our equations test review. So I'm going to I'm going to bring up this PDF and we're going to start going over the questions here. So I truly mean what Nonchalant Lemur says here. I definitely think you got this. So take your time, think about what you're doing, pay attention as we go over it. Let's get started. So first of all, we need to know the definitions of all of these words. So please go through your notes and make sure you have the definitions of all of these words in your head. And I want you thinking about how you can label the different parts of an expression. So 3x plus 4. I've got my variable. So check on variable. It is an expression. It's algebraic because it has a variable. If I put an equal sign on it and a 7, now I automatically have an equation because it has an equal sign. There's a coefficient. It's the 3. That's the number that multiplies the variables, the coefficient. And there's two constants, actually, now that I've written it as an equation. There's a 3 and a 7. Unfortunately, my equation does not currently have any like terms, so I could go ahead and put plus 2x, and now it has some like terms. I can simplify it by adding the 2x and the 3x together, and then I can solve it by subtracting 4 from each side. So now I have 3 equals 5x and dividing by 5, which means now I have x equals 3/5. So I know I turned it into solving an equation, but all the vocab is there. All right, let's go through and solve. I'm going to do 3 at a time, and then I'll go over them. So I'm going to pause it. I'm going to do these 3 right here in blue, and then we're going to go over it. Okay, here come your answers and work. Okay, so I've solved these 3. Let's go through and check my solutions. So here's number 2. N plus 18 equals negative 4. I subtracted 18 from each side. On the right-hand side, I want you to see that as a negative 4 and a negative 18. If you do that when you're solving equations, if you try to think of them as integers instead of, am I subtracting a negative 18? Just try to think of them as integers. And if you look straight down that column, think of that as adding negative 4 and negative 18 together, and that's how I get my negative 22. So to check that, negative 22 plus 18 does indeed give me negative 4, so I know I got that right. Okay, number 3, negative 85 equals negative 5m. Well, the question that a couple kids had is they got confused looking at it, and I said, all right, switch the two sides of the equal sign. Now, if you do that, does that make better sense? Sure. Divide by negative 5. And then when I go back to check it, is negative 5 times 17 equal to negative 85? Yes, it is. All right, and then on the next one, I chose to use the two-step method. 2/5 x equals 18. So I chose to multiply by the denominator and then divide by the numerator, like one of the ways that we discussed in class. You could have divided both sides by 2/5, or we could have multiplied by the reciprocal. Either way it came out, or any of those ways, it came out just fine. So 2/5 times 45 equals 18. Well, that makes it 45 over 1. Simplify, simplify. 2 times 9 definitely equals 18. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to take this PDF and I'm going to kind of move it a little bit. I'm trying not to make anyone motion sick or anything. I'm going to do the next set that we have, 5, 6, and 7, over here on the right. Over here on the right-hand side. So let me pause it and go ahead and give you those. Here come your answers. And here we have our answers for 5, 6, and 7. And now we're going to go through and check them. Okay, so number 5, start off with subtracting the constant, which was the 5. So you want to watch out for this. You're not looking at a negative 5 here. It's 5 minus. If I take the 5 off, that's a 5 minus a positive 5. Same thing on the right side, gives me 9. And here it gives me negative 3. Negative 3c. Negative 3c. Divide by negative 3. There's our answer. Let's check it. So that means I'm taking this and saying 5 minus 3 times negative 3. That's 5 minus negative 9, or 5 plus 9, which is indeed 14, and I've got it. Okay, the next one, g over 3 plus 4 equals 13. Again, get rid of the constant first. So subtract 4 from each side. Get 9 on the right, g over 3 on the left. Multiply both sides, get rid of the divided by 3. You've got 27 for your answer. Let's check. 27 over 3 is 9 plus 4 definitely equals 13. The last one is negative 1/4 d. Now do not look at that and go, oh no, fractions, I don't know what to do. This right here is exactly the same thing as if I wrote d over negative 4. Those are the same thing because multiplying by negative 1/4 and dividing by negative 4 are both the same. They do the same thing. They do the same thing. They have the same effect. Okay, so I solved it by subtracting the 15, the constant, again, and multiplying by negative 4, because negative 1/4 times negative 4 will give me 1, which gives me 1d, and I got negative 52 for an answer. So negative 1/4 of negative 52 plus 15. So negative 1/4 of negative 52 is 13 plus 15 definitely equals 28. Got it. Okay. All right, going to bring my PDF back up. Uh-oh, hold on. Okay, guys, going to do this next section here. Sorry, I had to kind of adjust some things. I got this random d divided by negative 4 that's just sort of hanging out down here. Let's make that go away. All right, we're going to simplify these expressions. I'm going to pause it, write it out, and I want you to go ahead and look at the answers. Here it comes. Okay, each one has been simplified. Let's look at it. Distributive property on the first two. So when you distribute the 3, you're multiplying 3 times 4x, that's 12x, and 3 times a minus 5, so that's minus 15. You could do this with the blocks if you recall. We could see that with the blocks. So you're multiplying each term and getting 2 terms that are larger based on that. So negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x. Negative 3 times a minus 5 is positive 15. So plus 15. I want you to think it would be minus a negative 15, but there's no reason to write that. So we just go straight to plus 15. And the last one, we're combining like terms. So 9y minus 11y is negative 2y. Negative 4 plus 7 is positive 3. And we're done with that. All right. Let's look at the next section, which has us solving some more complicated equations. Okay, so this is one of those sections that's going to take a little bit of space. All right, let me get them done, and then we'll go over them. Okay, here they come. Okay, guys, this took some doing, but I got the next 4 done. Let's take a quick look. Sorry about that. That's my alarm going off, telling me it's time for me to get up and start my day, actually. I've been up kind of early this morning. So let's go through our solutions. Let's take a look at how we did. Okay, so this first one, variables on both sides, we've got 5p plus 2 equals 4p minus 1. I subtracted 4p from each side. Remember that I find that to be easier because then it's a positive p. Now I subtracted 2 from each side. I got negative 3. Let's check our work. 5 times negative 3. So 5 times negative 3. I didn't mean to write there. I'm sorry. It won't reverse that. How about erasing it? There we go. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Plus 2 would be negative 13 there on the left-hand side. What about the right-hand side? 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Minus 1, negative 13. Yeah, I got it right. Okay. And you're thinking, well, duh, Miss Comte, you're the math teacher. Of course you should be getting it right. All right, sorry to move everything over here. Just want to make some space. All right, look at this next one. A little bit more complicated. You had to distribute first. So look what we got after we distributed on both sides. Now we're going to combine like terms. 6 and 7, that's 13. Then I looked for the smaller value of my variable and I added 2w to each side. Now I have 14w minus 8 equals negative 13. Now come all the way down here. I have a two-step equation now. So I added 8 to each side. Kind of looks like an 18 right there, but I think that's just a stylus error. There we go. Plus 8. We get 14w equals 21. Now do not freak out over the fact that it does not go evenly. Divide both sides by 14 and then look at what you have. It's a fraction. It's just like a fraction. Simplify it. Simplify it. And we got 3 halves, or 1 1/2. So, okay, 4 times 3 times 3 halves, which is 1.5, minus 2. That's the left-hand side. 3 1.5s is 4.5. 4.5 minus 2 is 2.5. Times 4 is, let's see, 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 0.5 is 2, so that's 10. So the left-hand side of our equation ended up at 10. How about the other one? Negative 2. 1.5 minus 3, and then plus 7. 1.5 minus 3 is negative 1.5. Negative 2 times negative 1.5 is positive 3. Plus 7 is 10. We got it. They're equal. Okay? The next one we had was 13, which is down here. Can I move this now? Oh, good. I can still move it. There's stuff underneath there. Just ignore that stuff that's underneath there. Okay. So, next one. 2h plus 4 all over 3 equals 14. This is one of those ones where you have to get rid of that fraction first. So, multiply by 3 on both sides first. So, now I have 2h plus 4 equals 42. Subtract. 2h equals 38. Divide. H equals 19. So, 2 times 19 plus 4 all over 3. 2 times 19 is 38, plus 4 is 42. 42 over 3 is 14, and I know I got my answer right. On this next one, I skipped a bunch of steps writing them out, but I'm going to write them or show you what they are now. So let's look at it. 3t plus 2 plus 4t equals 16 plus 5t. Now first, like terms. Add them together. Now I can go through and solve. Now what do you think I did to get from 7t plus 2 equals 16 plus 5t to 2t equals 14? Well, I subtracted 5t from each side, and that's where we got the 2t, and then I subtracted 2 from each side. And both of those steps lead to 2t equals 14. And then to get from there to t equals 7, I divided by 2. So let's check it. 3 times 7 plus 2 plus 4 times 7. So that's 21 plus 2 plus 28. This is one of those ones kind of like the mental math we were doing in class yesterday. 2 and 28 is 30 plus 21, so the left-hand side is 51. The right-hand side, if it's equal, is 16 plus 5 times 7. So that's 16 plus 35, which is indeed 51, and they are equal. Okay, the last one we have is a word problem. So let's go ahead and do the word problem. So hold on just a second. Let me revamp here. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the word problem. Let's just go ahead and do it out from the beginning, okay? Mary Beth started with 18 lines of code and wrote 6 lines of code each minute. Lisa Ann had 24 lines and wrote 3 lines each minute. Use M to represent the number of minutes that passed until the two women wrote the same number of lines of code. Write and solve an equation for this situation. Yes, you have to write the equation. No, you don't have to use it to find your answer. So if you found your answer without an equation, that's awesome. But I want an equation too. So let's do it together. If M is the number of minutes, I'm going to write that down because it helps me to have that visually on my paper. For Mary Beth, we'll put her on the left-hand side, and for Lisa Ann, we'll put her on the right-hand side. Mary Beth had 18 lines of code, and she wrote 6 each minute. So the number of lines of code she can write in M minutes is found by multiplying 6 times M. For Lisa Ann, she started off with 24. She wrote 3 lines each minute. So the number of lines of code she can write in M minutes is found by writing 3 times M for Lisa Ann. So now we're going to solve. So do the same thing we've been doing. I like to subtract that smaller value of the variable. So 18 plus 3m equals 24. Subtract 18 from each side. 3m is equal to 6. Divide by 3. M is equal to 2. They'll have the same number of lines of code. After 2 minutes. And that, my friends, is it. Use the IXL skills listed to go through and study, and I will see you for your test on Friday. Bye now. See you in class.